Peace and blessings, family, and welcome back to another episode of Heal with Angelica Waters podcast, where we discuss all things healing. And on today's episode, I have a guest joining me today, author and speaker, Miss Valerie Williams, as we will be discussing today's topic, One Time Too Many, a story on domestic violence. Miss Valerie, I am so excited to have you on the show today. Thank you so very much for joining me. How are you?
I'm great, Angelica, and I am so excited to be here. So excited to be here.
Yes, yes, yes. Thank you so much again for joining me. Now, before we get started on this very well needed topic, do you
Mhm.
mind letting our audience know just a little bit more about you?
Okay, yes, I am an author, as you said. I have published several inspirational books for women, and I also have a children's book. I do a lot of self development workbooks. I have journals for mothers and daughters, fathers and sons, positive affirmations for kids. I have something for the whole entire family. I also have a nonprofit called Love Smart. I am the CEO and founder of Love Smart. And what we do is go into schools and into the community, churches, anywhere we can go and try to reach kids at an early age to teach them about a healthy relationship, what love is, boundaries, self-love, setting standards, what love is not. And so we try to teach them at an early age so they don't become those women and men we go see in shelters.
Wow, wow. That is amazing, Miss Valerie. Thank you so much for letting our audience know that. Yes, yes, yes.
Yes.
Now, let's get started on today's topic, One Time Too Many, a story on domestic violence. Now, I did some research on domestic violence.
Mm-hmm.
Seems like I came to find out that due to systematic racism, which affects our social structure as well as our policies, both black women and black men experience domestic violence at higher rates than other communities. In fact, 45.1% of black women experience physical violence, sexual
Mm-hmm.
violence, or stalking from their intimate partner, while 40.1% of black men experience those abuse on average. 1 in 3 women experience domestic violence, 33.3%, and 1 in 4 men experience domestic violence. That's 25%,
Yes.
showing that African Americans are disproportionately affected by this issue. That brings me to my first question for you, Miss Valerie. Could you please tell us your story and experience with domestic violence?
Yes, and as you said, domestic violence, it is very high in our community and in the African American community. The only thing is we don't report it, and it's probably even higher than the statistics that you just gave out because we
Mm-hmm.
don't report all of the incidents and things that happen. And I think sometimes we do that because we don't really know what abuse is, or we just have an idea of what domestic violence is. And so and we look at more physical than
Mm-hmm.
anything. And so and sometimes we just think that it's not abuse. We think that it's just something that's happening in the relationship, and that's how relationships go. You fight,
Exactly.
you make up. However, abuse is abuse. And I found that out. I was married for 8.5 years. Never A husband, never abusive, never hit me, never punched me, never cussed me out, never downgraded me, never made me feel bad. However, this particular day, he called me home at work from lunch to bring him the car. By the time I got home, 20 minutes later, he was talking about shooting himself. And I'm really just lost because we just had Valentine's Day the week before,
Mm-hmm.
went out to eat, had a good time, went out with friends, and not knowing something is going on with him, if he's dealing with something, would just call me home. And 20 minutes later, he was not allowing me to go back out the door to go back to work, and got in front of the door. I'm reaching for the doorknob. I'm trying to talk to him. Like, I'm thinking he's playing at first.
Right.
And he just wouldn't get out the door. And then he punched me in the face. So when
Oh,
he
wow.
punched me, I fell back on the kitchen floor. And I was just stunned because, I mean, like, he literally, I like knocked me, right?
Right.
And I was stunned from it. And so I'm on the floor and I'm holding my head and I'm just like, he came and stood over me and said, "See what you made me do?" And I'm getting up off the floor like, "See what I made you do?" Because my face is just whopping. And I got up and he went in his pocket and pulled out a gun. We never had a gun in the house. Don't know where he got a gun from. So I'm just like, "Where you get a gun from? What are you doing?" Because it just, what is going on?
Right.
And so he proceeded to end up shooting me 3 times. And he
Oh,
shot me with a
wow.
.38 Smith & Wesson. I was shot in the head. So I have a bullet hole here, and it went all the way through my head and
Ooh.
came out over here. So I have 2 bullet holes here, and then I have 2 on my arm. You can kind of see one right there,
Mm-hmm.
and then there's another one. And he shot me twice in my arm. One bullet came up, went through here, and came out my spine, out the back of my neck. And then he ended up shooting himself in the back of the head. So we both were in the house, shot. But I had a girlfriend that I had asked to follow me home because I was taking him our family van. That's why I was going home when he called me. And it just happened so fast. And I got to the hospital. They took me out first, took him. And I didn't even know I was shot in the head. I had no clue. I had no pain in my head. But my arm, I knew that I had lost feeling in my arm because I couldn't move it. Got to the hospital. They took him wherever. I thought he was dead. I didn't ask about him, didn't think about him. I just wanted to get the surgery.
Exactly.
Yeah, I just wanted to get it. And so we had 2 kids at the time. They were 4 and 7, a boy and a girl. And I just thank God that they were not in the home, because I just think whatever his state of mind was, anything could happen.
Exactly.
And in domestic violence, it happens all the time. The whole family, they kill the whole family.
Exactly.
So got to the hospital, didn't have no surgery, no anything, and that's only because of God.
Yes. Walking miracle you are.
God. It was a straight miracle because, like I said, it went through my head and not the other side. And I didn't have no surgery, no bones cracked, no stitches, no blood transfusion, no nothing. I had nothing.
Oh, glory to be to God.
Yes,
Oh,
glory be to God. And I just didn't even have a clue that I had been shot in the head. I stayed in the hospital 3 days for observation. My head was swollen. When I did get up and was able to see myself, my head was swollen, gunpowder residue burnt in it. It was just swollen from the wound, the trauma, and didn't have the use of my arm. Stayed in the hospital 3 days. And when I got out of the hospital, Angelica, there was a newspaper at my mom's. Never went back to my home, ended up losing my house, never went back, lost my job, just lost everything. All I had was I was going to my mom's. Never, never went back to our home. And the thing is, got to my mom's, and there was a newspaper from the write-up of the incident. And in the newspaper, it said domestic violence victim. I'm reading it, my head's swollen, I'm shot up, and I'm like, domestic violence? He didn't beat me.
Yeah.
He wasn't beating me, because that's what I always thought domestic violence was.
Exactly.
Physical beating, like somebody beating, giving you a black eye, choking you. That's what I thought domestic violence was. And I was so upset about it, because I know domestic violence has always been such an ugly, taboo word
Yeah.
that is just, oh no, we're not gonna let nobody think we getting beat up. Oh no, I'm not gonna let nobody think they beating me up. And it's just, and so we don't talk about it.
Exactly.
And I got very upset, and I had an advocate that they gave me from the court, and she was just honest with me. Like, she was just straightforward. And I was like, they need to change this. They need to rewrite this article. And I mean, I was upset.
Yes.
Upset. And, and she
Yes.
was just like, but you are. You are. And I said, that was his first time ever hitting me. And that was his first time, and she said, one time is one time too many. And she
Ooh.
said that it just did something to me. And I was like, one time is enough. And
Exactly.
that became my message. Of course, I had to go through my healing process and finding myself again. And so I wrote my first book, God's Divine Intervention. And I went through that process of healing. And then I realized, okay, this is why God saved me, for me to have the message that one time is one time too many. How do we prevent it from happening even the one time?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Oh my gosh. Whew. The story gives me so many just chill bumps. Like, you
Yeah.
are literally a walking miracle. Like, I've seen so many situations where it has taken so many of our
Yes.
young girls' life, just not being aware of the signs of domestic violence.
Mm-hmm.
I can be blunt and say that I was in a domestic violence situation, and I guess it was until I seen the patterns
Mm-hmm.
of what was going on and the type of men I was attracting. I realized like, okay, something is wrong. This is not
Good.
healthy. And like we said, one time is too many. And
Mm-hmm.
I think it's because we believe that it's only a physical thing, but it can
Right.
also be verbally,
Yes.
emotionally, so oh my
Yes.
gosh, like this is ooh,
Yes. You're
it's a
right. And I'm
lot.
glad that you saw that, because so many, and I can say now, some, because I've worked with young women,
Yes.
16. I work with older women too, but I work with young women 16 to, I'm gonna say, 33, and some of them are women, and I work with
Yes.
women older than that. However, like you said, I'm glad that you were able to see that this is unhealthy. This is a pattern, because so many don't. So
Exactly.
many rather be in a relationship to say they have a relationship, and it doesn't matter if it's healthy or not. I just
Mm-hmm.
I just want to be in a relationship. I don't want to be by myself. And so it doesn't matter whether it's healthy or not. So I'm gonna accept the abuse, whether it's verbal, emotionally, physically, whatever. I'm gonna accept it, because at least I have somebody.
Exactly. Exactly.
Right? At
Yeah,
least I have somebody.
exactly.
And then the cycle becomes the norm, and the unhealthiness and the toxicity of it becomes normal. So when I'm in this cycle of fighting and making up, fighting and making up, fighting and making up, and that's what we do,
Yes.
that's becomes our cycle, and it becomes normal. So it's no longer unhealthy. It's just what we do.
Exactly. Just what
Right?
just what we do. It's
It's
a
just
new
what we
it's
do. And it's
yes.
and it's unhealthy, and it's toxic, and it can be fatal. And so I'm very blunt about that when I go speak, because I know if it could happen to me, if it could happen to me in 20 minutes, it can happen to you. Know this, and and also in our culture, we have this oh, I'll fight him back mentality.
Ooh, yes, we do.
You felt that
Yes.
one.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
but why? Why? And my question is, why should you have to fight? Why
Exactly.
should you? That's not love. We shouldn't have to fight. We can disagree, but we can respect one another, and disagree. But why do we have to fight? Like it just doesn't make sense. So we're trying to go in love smart, and it's exactly what it says.
Yes,
Love smart.
exactly.
Yeah, like not with your feelings, because feelings have us doing all kind of things. So it's not loving smart by your feeling. Oh, I feel this.
Mm-hmm.
I feel that I'm in love. No, you're not in love because you feel.
Yes. See that
So,
now that brings me to my next question for you. Like, I can say with me, because I experienced domestic violence from the time I was 14 years old to the time I want to say 24. Um, and it was different patterns with the different relationships I was in.
mhm,
Um, and once I came to realize that, oh, this is a cycle, but I ended up learning to take accountability within
mhm,
myself in a way, because it's
mhm,
like, what am I doing to kind of track the situation? And then it made me go back to when I was younger, the
mhm,
lack of love that I received when I
mhm.
was younger, maybe because I don't want to feel alone, or
Right.
maybe because of just the cycle of having to start all over again. Um, but
Mhm.
now, do you believe that it's men have? I won't say. I just know of a lot of women going through domestic violence. Not saying that men don't go through domestic violence,
Mhm.
because there is rates of that as well. Because women feel as if that they have to respond back. However, like, do you believe that the lack of love in the home could be the cause of why there's so many domestic violence situations, as far as when you're younger,
Mhm.
and then you grow up and get into these relationships,
Right.
or as far as like what you see when you grow up?
Okay. What I have learned since working with teens and talking to them
Yes.
and all races, all races,
Yeah.
Mexican, Caucasian, it doesn't matter, all of them. One thing I've learned about the boys is, and this is something that I had to as a mother too, and
Mm-hmm.
you do have a son, right?
Yes, I
I
do.
had to be. I realized that at one point, because now I was a single parent at this time after the shooting. I'm a single parent, so my son could get hurt, and I would tell him to suck it up. What are you crying for? Like, oh my gosh, like stop, it doesn't hurt. And one day he told me, he said, "Mommy, it does, but it does hurt."
Yeah.
Like it does. And so I spanked him one day, and he's crying because I spanked him because he did something that he needed a popping for. And he started crying, and I'm telling him to stop crying. But I spanked him, and it hurt.
Mm-hmm.
And so it hit me when he told me, he said, "But it does hurt." And I said, "What am I teaching him as a boy?" I'm teaching him it's not okay for you to cry. I'm
Mm.
teaching him it's not okay for you to be in touch with your natural emotions, which is
Exactly.
crying when you feel something. And I'm telling you that it's not okay for you to do that because you're a boy. So, but am I telling him how to release his anger? How am I telling him how to release his emotions? I'm not reinforcing it with anything. So if I don't stop now at the age of 8, I'm gonna say 7, 8, and he becomes that young man at 18, still holding those emotions in, still not crying, still not releasing, then he's gonna meet a young lady, and he's gonna be in a situation where they may get into an argument, and what you think is gonna happen?
Ooh.
And that's what men do. They hold on, they hold on, they hold on, they hold on, because we have not taught them how to express themselves as little boys, or have told them we're saying it's not okay for you to tell me how you feel, because when you do that, it lets me think that you're weak, You're not a
Yeah.
strong man. And that's not true. And it shouldn't be true. So in Love Smart, we try to get with them and teach them that is natural. That is okay for you to cry. If you out there playing football and them 5 boys jump on you and it hurt, I
Yeah.
mean, if it make you cry, it's okay. But you can hear the coaches on the field, suck it up, stop crying. What you crying for? Stop being a sissy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, what are they supposed to do with it? So when they get into altercations and when they get upset and when they get heavy, what are they doing with it? And I asked one little boy, he said, eventually we're gonna boom, we're gonna explode.
Exactly.
And so you see, and so when a girl break up with a guy, he doesn't look at it as though she's breaking up and this is her choice, because we all have the right to be where we want to be and where we don't want to be.
Exactly.
We all have the right to choose what we want for our life. But normally when a girl says, I don't want to date you anymore, that's rejection to a boy. And who has taught him how to deal with rejection? You know, who's taught him? So he don't look at it. And that's why you turn on YouTube and the TV and you hear day after day after day. I just heard last night, I turned the TV on, and the guy shot his daughter and her mom. You shot your own daughter, like
Ooh.
9 years old. This is your daughter. This is your biological daughter. And you're so resentful because somebody decided that they don't want to be with you and your abusive self anymore. And so you go and then you go kill yourself. So it's like that's one part of it that I see is missing.
Yes.
That the men who's teaching them? Who are they talking to? They can't just go to the barbershop and talk.
Exactly.
We have to have programs. And then the girls, what I see is sometimes it's the lack of the father being there. The not knowing what self-love is. You know, so that is like our very first lesson at Love Smart. We teach them self-love because that's the most important love that there is. And when you have self-love, you set boundaries. You have respect for yourself. You don't compromise. But they don't know that. You don't seek attention. You don't do things where you just gotta feel like, because if this boy tell me I'm cute, then I'm cute. You know, your voice says nothing about you. You have no power within yourself. And so you wait for somebody else to come and validate who you are. And you don't know because we're not having these conversations. We're not having them at home. You know, some parents do, but I have parents that say, you know, Val, I don't even know how to have a conversation.
Yeah.
You know, or I'll say, if my daughter was still 11, 12, I'm checking her phone every day.
Exactly. Yes.
Because everything, Angelica, I'm telling you, everything is in that phone.
Ooh.
And we have young girls in middle school, 6th and 7th grade, getting 3,000 texts a month from their boyfriend. And it's 3,000. Where are you? What are you doing? Who you with? You didn't call me back. You saw me just text you. It's that kind of stuff that they're dealing with every day, and the parents don't even know. That their child is up under so much stress. And the boys, they can't speak to another girl on campus. I said, you mean tell me your boyfriend can't speak to a girl on his whole campus? But
yeah.
See, that's where the insecurity comes in, because that young girl is insecure because somebody didn't pour into her at home, like you said.
Yes.
Somebody didn't give her what she needed. Somebody said, okay, hey, she preoccupied over there, let her do her thing, and didn't give her the attention that she needed.
Ooh, you're going in deep, Miss Valerie.
Yeah. We have to save lives. We have to save lives.
We have to. We have to. It's a must. It's a must that And I believe that this situation in general, domestic violence, is being swept under the rug a lot of the times because of us not knowing the, how can I say this, the not identifying the signs
Right.
of domestic violence properly. So yes, ma'am, going in deep. Now, if you all are enjoying this episode just as well as I am, please show your support by donating today for more free and powerful content just like this. More info to donate will be listed in today's show notes. Now, let's get back to today's episode, One Time Too Many. Now, I do have another question for you, Miss Valerie, and I want to know, why is having a healthy sense of self-love, boundaries, and communication with parents valuable to one who finds themselves in a domestic violence situation?
Okay. For you said for parents,
Yes.
um, it's good because what I've been learning, and a lot of the teens tell me, the youth tell me that they don't feel that they can talk to their parents.
Yes.
So at Love Smart, we have what we call a parent portal. And we even have one on Facebook. It's called Love Smart Parent Portal. And that's where we put information in for parents to keep them up to date on the signs and have a talk with your son. And we just try to throw different things out to them because it matters. Because if that child does not feel that they can come to that parent and talk to them, then they're going to talk to their peers, but their peers, they don't know either.
Exactly.
They have no idea what healthy relationship is and what is not. One thing I have learned this year more than ever, I've noticed that they want to know. When I first start out a presentation, they may say something like, "Oh man, we don't want to hear this," because they don't want you telling them anything about their relationship. But the more I start showing them that it's not about their relationship being healthy, it's about them being healthy first. You have to be healthy before you try to get with somebody else. Two unhealthy people, they're sick. I always say I'd rather be healthy alone than sick with you. I'm just going to be healthy by myself.
Yes.
And so teaching our teens that at an earlier age will keep them from going to college, getting in situations. They'll say, "Oh, if you love me, you'll have sex with me." And that young lady or that man will be able to say, "That's not love, that's manipulation."
Ooh.
Right?
Yes.
Because I learned that from Love Smart.
Yes.
Because they have the information. So I just don't want the teens to have the tools. I want the parents to have the tools also. And I know that's a touchy subject because sometimes parents feel like, "Oh, I don't want to get in their business." I'd be like, "Look, you better get in their business."
Exactly.
You better get in their business because I'm telling you, if I just want to take you to a candlelight visual with me in October, and you'll see the families that's lost their daughters and sons, and it is the saddest thing. Even the babies. I mean, it just and it's senseless over nothing.
Yes.
And then you hear so many parents go, "Well, they always used to fight," and nobody said anything. "Oh, she would have scratches on her, and sometimes they would just," and I'm just like, and nobody said anything.
Yes.
And so we have to get out of that. It's not my business. Yes, it is.
It definitely is.
You said
Exactly.
You said the statistics. 1 out of every 3 girls. Come on. Every 3 girls you see. So we have to. We have a thing called for parents. It's called Tap In, Tap Out. And basically it's just, you should know your child enough to know, say if you pick them up from rehearsal, right? Football rehearsal or cheerleader rehearsal or whatever. You pick them up from practice and you're in the car and like they can hear your podcast today, right? And
Yeah.
you say, well, you know what? I was listening to, Angelica Waters on her podcast, and she had this lady on there, and she was talking about healthy relationships. What is a healthy relationship? What does that look like to you? So you've tapped in. Let them answer. Oh, a healthy relationship is, because this is what they believe a healthy relationship is. Exchanging our passwords, checking each other's phone.
Yes.
And so as a parent, you can say, no, that's not a healthy trait. That's not something healthy, because eventually that's going to end up, being, like somebody's going to get upset about it. So I wouldn't consider that healthy. So, and then you tap back out. You don't go on and on and on and on, because young people going to shut you down.
Yeah, they will. Yeah.
So you just tap in, ask a question, get a little feel for their mindset, what they think about. What is love? What is love to you? Around the dinner table, everybody gonna tell what's love. You gotta open up that door and give them room. I have some young people say nobody has ever talked to them about relationships.
Me neither.
I said, how did you start dating? I liked him, he liked me. We just started dating. And
that's usually how it goes. Too.
That's usually how it goes. But it's so much responsibility with relationships. And so if you're 15, 16 and you don't know, you just in it because of your feelings of what somebody looked like, it leads you down a path where some people never come back. Because nobody ever took the time to sit them down to say, hey, you have to love yourself first and foremost. You are beautiful just the way you are. We have to do that. We have to do it because we look for validation in other people, and we seek it in so many ways, and then we end up in relationships that you don't even know how to get out of.
Exactly.
You're afraid to get out of it.
Yes. Ooh.
And that fear will paralyze you.
It will.
So it's I'm so grateful and appreciate you taking the time out to even want to talk about it, because it's so needed. It is so needed.
It is. Yes, it is. I am grateful to have you on as a guest to discuss this. And actually, I've known of people that went through domestic violence situations. However, it just was never the topic that I wanted to discuss, because it was always, you don't really want people in your business. But when I thought about it, it's like, hey, it may be someone that is going through this that maybe needs to hear your story, just like you're sharing to me, made me open up and be like, oh, wow, I did go through this. And I went through it for so long at a point in time. I didn't even notice it until I got to a point in my life, and I'm pretty sure everyone will get to a point where they realize something is wrong. Like, this is not healthy. Something is wrong. And I'm not feeling good about myself. So you start identifying those things and see like, oh, wow, this is toxic. This is a situation that I have to get out of. And learning with me, it was me learning and starting to love myself more, what kind of made me be more grounded and have more boundaries when it comes to certain relationships that I'm in. And I believe that is something that our women and our men need to implement. Like, it's not just women, it's men too. It's a lot of things that needs to be implemented in regards to that. Just getting back to self and knowing thyself. And that's why I love that you brought up the relationship with the parents. Then me now having my son, and how I want to teach him, what's right and what's wrong, and not allowing a woman to do certain things to you as well, and being able to express yourself. So I know someone is going to find so much value in your love. Was it love self?
Love smart.
Love smart. There
love
you go.
Smart.
Yes. Love smart. It's such a beautiful thing, because we have to learn to love smart. So I did just have one more question before we end today's show. Now, what advice do you have for anyone who is in a domestic violence situation who do not know how to get out?
There's help everywhere, resources in their community. I have no doubt in my mind there are definitely. And then there's the National Domestic Violence Hotline number. They can just look it up. I think it's 1-888-779-SAFE. But if not, they can look it up national, and they're there 24/7. And that's the thing. They will help them step by step. Because one thing I always tell, especially women, because 90% of victims are women, be very careful when you say, I'm going to leave. That needs to be something that you're kind of doing under the rug, because a lot of women go, that's why I'm leaving you. And that's the time when they say, I think they say 7 times higher than women getting killed at that moment. Because remember, I talked to you about the rejection.
Yes.
Men look at it as rejection. Like, if I can't have you, nobody else will.
Yes.
Those kind of things. So there is help out there, and be able to tell somebody, don't think that they have to go through it alone. And I always say that it's never their fault. Whether they know the signs, whether they didn't know, how did I get here? It's never their fault, because people choose. Somebody asked me, did your husband, did he snap? No, he didn't snap, because I was begging him for my life. And I know he was talking to me and I was talking to him. He understood everything I said. So he never will get a snap from me.
Yeah.
Now, it was out of his character for who he was, but he made a choice that day. He made a choice when he hit me, when he punched me. And he made a choice when he pulled the trigger 3 times.
Ooh.
That's not snapping. That's not snap. And so I tell people all the time, don't re-victimize the victim.
Ooh.
Right? Don't
Yes.
re-victimize the victim. Like, I had to do something in order for him to do that. I had to do something. No, he made a choice. And if I did sleep with 10 men, it doesn't give you the right to try to take my life.
Exactly.
So I always tell people that what I want now more than anything, I just did an event Saturday, and my message was prepare. You have to be in preparation. You have to prepare to be in a relationship. Then that way you don't have to worry about managing it. So, you know what I mean? If you prepare for it, you don't have to take so much time managing it. But what do we do to prepare before we get in a relationship? What do we do to prepare when we get out of a relationship? How do we prepare ourselves and get ourselves back right before we get into another relationship?
Another one.
We jump into another relationship.
Ooh.
We get right back in another relationship, broken, bruised, hurt, but we just get into another relationship. And that cycle starts all over again. So prepare. What do you prepare? How do you prepare yourself to make sure you're good and make sure you're whole before you get in a relationship? And like you said, those boundaries are number one. Those boundaries are for protection, not punishment. They're for protection. They're to protect you. You know what I'm saying? Those diamonds are like in a case locked up, right? You the diamond. You got to protect you. So put those boundaries in place. Know what do you look for in a person? What's your standards? What are you even looking for? Do you even know? You can't be all external. I need some responsibility and some dedication, some commitment, some effort. Is he reliable? Just different things. What are you even looking for? You don't know.
Exactly.
So I think when we sit, Angelica, and take time with ourselves and learn who we are and know our truth, then we can walk with someone else. But if not, just be by yourself. Just be by yourself for a minute. Just give yourself some time to grow and love up and love on you. That's what I had to do. Yeah. I had to learn how to love me with 6 bullet holes in my body. Ooh. And I had to learn to love me. That was just it. All over again.
Well, you are doing an amazing job. You look beautiful. I can't even tell that you got shot or anything. You look amazing, and you are definitely a survival story. I love it so much. Yes, yes, yes. I want to thank you again for joining me today, Miss Valerie, and discussing this well-needed topic, one time too many. I would also like to give a special thank you to my amazing audience and Healing Tribe for joining us today. I pray today's episode was informative and valuable to you all. Also, be sure to give us your feedback, share, and subscribe, and turn on your notifications so you don't miss out on any upcoming episodes on any of your favorite podcast stations and on my YouTube channel, Heal with Angelica Waters Podcast, to help get the message out to those in need of healing. Also, if you are ready to start your healing journey, be sure to check out my ebooks and merchandise on health and wellness and start your healing today. More info will be available in today's show notes. I will also leave info in the description so you all can contact my guest today, Miss Valerie Williams. Valerie, before we end today's show, do you have any closing remarks for today's audience?
Only remark I want to say is to make sure whatever relationship you have that is purposeful before it's personal.
Ooh.
It must have a purpose. If it don't have a purpose, let it stay where it is. Purposeful before personal.
Yes, yes, yes. I love it, Miss Valerie. You guys heard it first. Make sure it is purposeful first. Yes, yes, yes. And again, I want to thank you all for joining us today. And we leave you guys as we came. Peace and blessings.